Rapido's new Slumbercoach release looks pretty good at first glance. How good is it? Let's take a look. Hi, I'm Dan Cortopassi, and today I'm reviewing an HO scale Bud Slumbercoach from Rapido Trains. My model is decorated in the Amtrak Phase 1 scheme. The MSRP for this car is $119.95. I paid $111.96 for my model from Factory Direct Hobbies. We'll start the model at 100 possible points. The car comes in a cardboard box with a clear plastic window. Inside is a sheet of paper with information on one side and exploded view drawings on the other. An extra long shank coupler is also included, along with a magnetic wand for operating the interior lights. A plastic cradle protects the model. This is a good box that should protect the car for storage and transport. According to the brochure in the box, Bud built 18 Slumbercoach cars of this design between 1956 and 1959. These cars had a 24 single room and 8 double room design for up to 40 passengers. I found some additional information online about this particular car, Loch Ness. It was built in 1959 for the Northern Pacific as number 328. It was assigned a BN number, but apparently the number was never applied. Instead, the car went to Amtrak in 1971 and became number 2027. In 1980, the car was converted to head-end power and renumbered as Amtrak 2087. It was retired in 1996. The car was acquired by the Inland Northwest Rail Museum in 1998, but is not listed as part of their current collection. According to the Rapido website, Loch Ness has been restored and is currently operated by Web Rail as a private car. I found a few photos of this and other similar cars online. As far as I can tell, the model appears to be spot on and reproduces the appearance of the prototype cars in the early Amtrak era. A photo from 1995 shows the car as Amtrak 2087 in Phase 3 paint with a few detail changes. Rapido also offers these cars in the Amtrak Phase 3 paint scheme, as well as Northern Pacific and other railroads that operated them. The paint on the car is opaque and reproduces the look of the stainless steel used on the real cars. The markings are mostly crisp, though under extreme magnification I can see some paint bleed in the striping on the sides. The striping also appears to be slightly out of register, with some of the red, white, and blue not quite lining up in a few spots. This is all minor enough that I don't think it warrants a deduction, and it's not visible unless you're really looking for it. On both sides, the blue board with the white car number and name is ever so slightly crooked. I like the other panel with the Slumbercoach title and number board on either side near their vestibule doors. The windows have a slight bluish tint. They're flush-fitting and have thin gasket detail around the edges. It's hard to show on video, but the car has a detailed interior. I really like the window shades at random heights. The door latch details are molded on and the doors don't open. All the grab irons are separately applied wire pieces. The small corner steps on the vestibule end look like they're molded as part of the car body, so be careful when handling the car not to break them. On the ends, the car has more separately applied grab irons. The vestibule end has an opening and you can see into the car. Inside the opening is a safety gate and ratchet brake handle and chain. On the other end, the car has a safety gate and an orange door with a number board on it. The diaphragms are sprung. I grabbed another Rapido passenger car and the diaphragms don't touch on straight track. Depending on how much slack there is in the train, there's about a 1/8 to 1/4 inch gap between them. Both ends have uncoupling levers and hoses. On top, the roof has nice corrugation detail. Underneath, the car has a variety of details and plumbing. All of this looks correct based on the photos I found of these cars. Some of the smaller pieces of plumbing and other details are molded in flexible plastic, so they should stand up to careful handling. The wheels are metal with the standard RP25 tread profile. Unlike the Rapido Amtrak Horizon car that I reviewed some time ago, the brake discs on this car are firmly secured and don't interfere with the rotation of the wheels. All the wheels are used to pick up current. The car has a Rapido metal couplers on both ends. Looking for a match on the horizontal center line, the coupler on the vestibule end is high, so I'm taking 5 points. The coupler on the other end is low. All the wheels are in gauge according to the NMRA standards gauge. There is no significant body wobble. The car weighs 7.3 ounces, a little over the 6.75 ounce NMRA recommended weight for a car of this length. I like a little extra weight in rolling stock as I think it helps the cars to track better. The car is free rolling. The instructions recommend a 22-inch minimum radius. I tested the car on Kato 550mm curves, which are equivalent to a 21 5/8 inch radius. It works, though there's a lot of overhang on the ends. I don't know that I'd trust the car not to derail at higher speeds. It also works when coupled to another Rapido passenger car, though the ends of the cars on the inside of the curve are very close. Cars like this are much better off on broader curves. The car has interior lighting that will work when track power is present, either DC or DCC. To turn the lights on and off, the included wand can be used to activate a magnetic switch hidden in the roof near the spot where the upper level windows start. The car also has a capacitor circuit to prevent flickering. Since it's my preference, I'm going to swap the stock couplers for KD158 whisker couplers. I'll start by removing the coupler screw. Now I can pull out the draft gear box. After removing the original coupler and spring, the KD drops right in. I retested the height and it's close, but the coupler won't swing side to side. I think the lid is clamping the coupler, so I'm going to remove some material from the top of the coupler shank. Be very careful when doing this, as the whiskers are very sharp and can poke your fingers. I'll also file some material from the inside of the draft gear box lid. Now the coupler on the non-vestibule end swings side to side, and the height is also correct. I did the same thing to the vestibule end, but the coupler ended up slightly high. I'll remove a little material from the part of the car body that sits under the draft gear box for clearance. This is a shim made from some 10,000 styrene. I'll install this between the car body and the draft gear box to lower the coupler. Now the height on the vestibule end is correct. So I'm just old enough to have some vague memories of the Amtrak Rainbow era from back when they first started. And I can remember being in Truckee because my parents used to go up there on vacation fairly often. And sometimes they'd take me down to the train station and we'd watch the trains go by. And sometimes if we were lucky, we'd catch Amtrak. And I can remember seeing the SDP-40Fs coming through with strings of cars from all these different railroads, which I thought was really neat. And then later on, you started to see cars in the Amtrak Phase 1 scheme. So even though my primary modeling era is the 1990s, I thought it would be really fun to maybe put together a train of those, early Amtrak cars and run it on my layout once in a while. So I think this car will work well for that, and I'm looking forward to using it on the layout. Let's see what we've got. Both couplers were at the wrong height, so I took 10 points in the standards and operation category. That leaves us with 90 out of 100 possible points, which earns an A-. Overall, this is a really nice model of an early Amtrak passenger car. I'm giving it a green signal. Overall, I think Rapido did a really nice job on this model. If you're looking for a 1970s vintage Amtrak sleeper for your HO scale layout, then I think you might like it. If you like this video, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned and thanks for watching.